and it looked like Caitlin Clark has landed her first speaking gig of the offseason. Guys,
Caitlin Clark cashed another check before the season had even had time to settle. Clark just got her first offseason job, and the WNBA appears anxious as half of the league is sobbing about CBA problems. This time, she's not going after rebounds. She is pursuing expensive microphones.
Here's the question then.
Is the WNBA jealous or angry? This woman doesn't sleep, I told you. Caitlin is out here signing speaking engagements, while the rest of the league is occupied with arguments over leadership, lockouts, and Kathy Angelbert's absence from action press conferences. Not sponsorships, that's right. Speaking engagements when you get paid to just speak.
Biggest conversations last offseason was Caitlin Clark $100,000 an hour speaking gigs. Well, I'm here to tell you she is not taking long getting back to work, raking in the cash because she has landed.
Furthermore, I'm not referring about a local school assembly. No, we're talking about speaking engagements at corporate-level business conferences that pay $100,000 per person. Let's go back a little. The internet went crazy during the previous offseason when it was revealed that Caitlin Clark was earning around six figures, or $100,000 per hour, for her public speaking services. Before businesses began to line up, many laughed. And now she has another booking just 1 month after the season ended. Bro, it's likely that the WNBA front office learned about it at the same moment that we did on Twitter.
Didn't need the money to do unrivaled. She's landing $100K to speak to speak for companies and represent companies all over the country. She's not hurting for cash, and I just think this is just the coolest thing ever that Caitlin Clark is able.
Here's what's going on. The Long Island Association has announced Caitlin Clark as its guest speaker for its fall conference. Long Island, indeed. Golf course money, big money, and old money. She will have a unique discussion with their president, Matt Cohen, regarding her record-breaking accomplishments, her influence on the game, and her expanding reach outside of basketball. In other words, the WNBA is aware that she is the sports spokesperson.
So it looked like Caitlin Clark is headed to Long Island Association, bro. So it stated Long Island Association joined the Long Island Association's president and CEO, Matt Cohen, moderates a special conversation with Caitlin Clark discussing her record-breaking performances, impact, and cultural influence on October the 29th at 10:30 to 12:30 in New York.
Furthermore, this isn't a charity appearance. This is a sponsored business function. They actually stated that there are just a few seats available, sponsorships are welcome, and the event will take place at Holly Country Club, which, in case you were unaware, is not a hangout for the impoverished. Thus, Caitlin is receiving a good salary. The crazy aspect is that fans adore it. However, the league's front office is in a panic because it looks awful when your top star can earn in an hour what half of your squad makes in a month. Let's calculate. A WNBA player typically earns $120,000 annually. In a single speaking event, Caitlin Clark can earn nearly that amount. She's not even breaking either. Sweat. There were only clean air conditioners and microphones, no fouls, no egregious hits, and no referees acting as though they didn't witness elbows flying. Kathy Angelbert is attempting to persuade these players not to lock out for the upcoming season, while she is someplace in a boardroom. The contrast is ideal. Players are moaning about league compensation, and Caitlin Clark is subtly demonstrating that she is not even in need of it. Don't get me wrong, Caitlin is still playing basketball, but this move makes a statement. She is demonstrating to everyone that her brand is superior to the league's. And that's what people are afraid of. You see, when the face of Caitlin as Clark sells out arenas, sponsors begin to pose a risky query. Do we only need her, or do we also need the league? At that point, the WNBA begins to feel pressured, since the same factor that brought them wealth this year might render them obsolete the following year.
Just with working back to full health, Steph mentioned that it was kind of baby steps and getting back and making sure you don't lose what you've worked on this season. Just what are your plans for the off season and possibly playing or just doing individual workouts?
Yeah, I mean, probably take a little bit of a break here, just for maybe a week. I don't really want to lose a ton of the stuff I've worked on, and just trying to get my back body to my body back to full health. There's some USA basketball stuff I need to get ready for. And, you know, I need to be able to find some runs and some ways to play 5-on-5 just so I can kind of get that feel back. And but more than anything, I think my main focus is really just getting my body healthy. And once we get back to 5-on-5, like just being able to test my body and make sure I know it's in a good spot where it's going to be able to hold up with everything that, you know, we think we've corrected or we think we've worked on, to be able to know I'm in a really good spot there. And, you know, when you go through injuries, especially in my scenario where it's been a few of the reoccurring kind of bouncing around, which isn't necessarily uncommon in my situation just because of compensation, and, you know, when you're dealing with things in that groin area, that just is kind of how it can go sometimes. I think it's important that you can become confident in your body again, and that's for anybody that goes through injury. So that's probably going to be my main focus is, you know, just feeling 100% again, and then obviously, you know, having that confidence in my body too.
This Long Island Association off-season position is more than simply a side gig. It's a move of power. It demonstrates that she is not sitting around waiting for the WNBA to improve its reputation. She is creating her own business. You may be sure that the numbers are enormous. Businesses spend between $100,000 and $250,000 for speakers with Caitlin's caliber. Do you believe that the most talked about athlete in women's sports is receiving a lower salary? No way. She is essentially using a jump shot to perform TED speeches. The funniest aspect now is seeing individuals on the internet act as though they're shocked. This Caitlin Clark is the same person that made college basketball a national sport, bro. The same Caitlin it was Clark who elevated Iowa games above the NBA Finals highlights. The same Caitlin Clark who, during her first WNBA season, packed out every away arena. You assumed she would spend the entire winter lounging? No, she's making money while the PR teams of everyone else quarrel on Twitter. Let's discuss why this is important, though. Since the WNBA is dealing with chaos, Asia Wilson is facing criticism for refitism, Kathy Angelberg is somewhere avoiding interviews, Nafisa Collier is publicly battling the commissioner, and Caitlin is organizing speaking tours. Caitlin provided the league with the excellent headline they needed. However, it's her headline, not theirs. The secret is that she refuses to let her off-season be defined by the WNBA. She is the one defining it, and the league has no control over that. Because the balance changes when a player surpasses the league in size. She cannot be benched. She is not there. She cannot be silenced. She now has her own platform in addition to sponsors, supporters, and the media. To be honest, it's somewhat poetic. Caitlin is teaching other gamers how to make their own money as they are battling for greater pay. She is converting her notoriety into a business. She is transforming her fame into self-reliance. Furthermore, the WNBA is unsure of how to respond to that. Their strategy has always been to retain their stars in the system, but Caitlin Clark is demonstrating that she doesn't require the system to be brilliant. Let's be honest now. Some media people are already making this up. The headline said, Caitlin Clark prioritizes corporate over team cohesion. Stop, bro. You cannot be angry with someone for having intelligence. She isn't giving up on the sport. She's making it bigger. She isn't really skipping practice to film ads, though. The season is over. This is the actual purpose of the off-season. Camps are hosted by NBA players. NFL players endorse products. Caitlin is giving lectures and getting compensated fairly. It's not greed. Value is that. Who knows that better than anyone else, do you know? The businesses that are issuing such checks. Because they observe things that the WNBA occasionally overlooks. Caitlin Clark is a world citizen. Her following extends beyond Indiana. It's Iowa. The Midwest is the location. It's global. In Europe, her shop mechanics are being imitated by children. Her parents bought her jerseys for hundreds of dollars.
Power is that.
She is reminding everyone that her influence extends beyond the court when she secures a $100,000 speaking engagement at an upscale golf club. Let's now discuss the reasons behind the league's worry. Because, whether they acknowledge it or not, one lady was the driving force behind the WNBA's success this season. Ratings doubled when Caitlin Clark performed. Ratings declined when she didn't. That's numbers, not opinions. Now that the season is finished, the WNBA's top revenue-generating events are taking place in the offseason. Avoid involving them. They are unable to advertise it. They can't make money off of it. They are unable to claim it at all. They are simply existing in Caitlyn's reality. The WNBA media is already making an effort to minimize the alarm, which is another indication that it is genuine. Such statements as "it's just one event" are being made. Yes, of course. Till the clock strikes 10.
Since this is the pattern,
3 speaking engagements resulted from 1 last year. It is likely to double again this year. Caitlin Clark's off-season speeches might earn her more money by 2026 than her whole WNBA paycheck. She truly deserves it, too. One athlete cannot represent your league, defend herself against shady calls, and deal with envious players, and yet she will likely sit quietly throughout the off-season. She is stealing both her profit and her tranquility. Let's now take a brief diversion. Why she didn't join Unrivaled was a question that several people had. Nafisa Collier and Brianna Stewart founded that player-run off-season league. This is the straightforward response. She is not obliged to. Caitlyn is already earning that and more, but Unrivaled is excellent for gamers looking to supplement their income. When you can make the same amount of money giving a speech in heels rather than sneakers, why risk being hurt in another league? This is Business 101. Don't work harder, but work smarter. And this action demonstrates that Caitlyn is more than just an athlete. She is an entrepreneur. Online supporters are now arguing that she ought to utilize her position to advocate for the other participants. She's battling by giving them a better strategy, bro. She is demonstrating to all young athletes that you can establish your own brand without waiting for approval. To be honest, the league is most afraid of that. Because players lose that power as soon as they understand they can earn real money outside of the WNBA. We've already seen it. It was Shaq. It was Kobe. It was Serena. Caitlin Clark is now going about things her own. And this is only the beginning. Her job in Long Island is more than simply a paycheck. It lets sponsors know she's available for business. Observe her own basketball academy, the Netflix documentary series, or a new Nike ad will follow. Additionally, each and every one of the WNBA has no influence over those actions. The league's public relations team is occupied with tweeting about growth and unity in the interim. Yes, unity is fantastic, but Caitlyn isn't waiting for someone to give her a check, and growth doesn't cover the rent. She is the one making the cash. Here's what adds even more interest to this. The moment. Her speaking engagement in Long Island takes place on October 29th, just before Halloween. What else occurs throughout that week, do you know? The CBA expiration date for the WNBA.
yes,
Caitlin Clark will be the star of a high-end business conference in New York while executives and players are squabbling about contracts. Tell me, isn't that poetic? The league may they enter a lockout as its top star addresses millionaires on a golf course about achievement and leadership. The media will take full advantage of that, you know. Caitlin Clark excels outside of the WNBA, but the league faces lockout. That headline will be adored by them. Since Caitlyn's value only increases regardless of what happens, her sponsors will genuinely agree. She is impervious to bullets. She still prevails in the event of a lockout. She returns with considerably more money if there is no lockout. Caitlin Clark continues to win in either case. The WNBA is unable to manage that aspect because the league seems to be on the verge of disintegrating at the moment. Additionally, Caitlyn never stops reminding everyone that she can continue to win without their help. She is not in need of partiality, preferential treatment, or phony rating increases. She enjoys global regard, something no one else possesses. Her grit is respected even by those who don't like her style. She is professional, courteous, marketable, and incredibly reliable. She isn't posting trivial remarks here. She doesn't start arguments. She is allowing her money account to speak for itself. And the WNBA is in a frenzy for precisely that reason. Because it raises a frightening question for everyone when the biggest star in your league can earn the same amount of money on her own. What would happen if she chose not to return?
take a moment to process that.
In the event that Caitlin Clark decides to leave the WNBA or, worse, move abroad, the overnight league ratings would plummet. She would also not lose a dime, based on how easy she is booked for six-figure speeches. That is power, and it is not common. The WNBA is sweating a lot as a result of Caitlin's name becoming popular once more. This time, it's for business, not basketball. The nicest part is that she doesn't even need to mention it. She isn't debating, tweeting, or defending herself right now. She's too preoccupied with comma counting. Caitlin Clark recently transformed her off-season into a masterclass in business. She's creating a legacy that pays whether she plays or not, even while the WNBA is still battling over leadership instability. Not at all. And let's face it, Caitlin's success creates more than simply revenue. Every action she takes makes headlines. People watch her perform. People pay attention to her when she speaks. Someone at ESPN is typing an article about it even as she breathes. You can tell that she has advanced to a level that no other WNBA player has. And the league is secretly incredibly irritated by that, because the headlines always state Caitlin Clark breaks another record rather than the WNBA achieves new heights. The product is being carried by her name, not the other way around. Like Jordan, LeBron, and Serena, she has made herself into a brand that walks. Moreover, the WNBA was not built to handle a person of that caliber. Stars that shine within the system are what they want. However, Caitlin is now the system. The WNBA spotlight is no longer necessary for her. No matter where she goes, the attention follows. You can thus bet on one thing when she enters that Long Island ballroom later this month dressed in a suit rather than a jersey. Everyone in the room will understand that they are witnessing a phenomenon rather than merely a player. What do you think, then? Is Caitlin simply demonstrating her superiority, or is she altering the rules for everyone? Leave your comments below. Click the like button and sign up for